welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Okay, so cold autumnal morning, not so much crisp, a little bit grim, a little bit grey, a little bit, some sunshine would really go, would really add to it. So I've just done the school run and I thought, right, excellent, I've got the place to myself, let's do a quick review. And today's quite a special review. It's one that I've been meaning to do for quite a while. It's a perfume I've had for a good 3 to 4 weeks now. So I've had a chance to live with it, I've had a chance to wear it, and it's a really, really interesting one. And one that I'm kind of really a little bit nervous about reviewing for the simple reason the guy behind this fragrance is awesome. He's such a larger than life character, and of all the perfumers and noses and people in perfume that I've had any kind of dealings with, I don't think I've ever come across anyone quite as approachable as this chap. And his name is George Zaharoff. And what we're going to be reviewing today is a Zaharoff signature. Now, to understand this perfume perfectly, we need to look back at the brand. Now, obviously, I'm British. I live in London, so the name Zaharoff to me isn't one that I'm that familiar with. I don't know too much about it. But it's quite it's a well-established name, well-established house in the States. And to sort of understand it more, if we go back to the 70s, because Zaharoff is more known, I think, historically for fashion and for lifestyle rather than fragrance. Now, George's mother, Mariana, in the 1970s was quite a well-known fashion designer. She made some wedding dresses. I think some of her creations are in museums and stuff like that. So there's a real legacy there to tap into. And obviously George has carried on the family tradition with some clothing as well. He also does aftershave lotions and grooming oils. And then he's had a couple of forays into the perfume world. Now, from what I can glean, in the 90s, in 97, there was a Zaharoff Pour Femme. And then in 99, there was Zaharoff Pour Homme, which is very, very difficult to get hold of. I don't think I haven't spent a lot of time trying to get hold of it, but I think it's pretty much gone. I think probably George will have a bottle of it or someone like that. Someone in the family may have some bottles of it, but I don't think you can actually get them anymore. So in 2018, Zaharoff Signature Pour Homme was released. Now, the nose behind it is Claude Deer, who actually worked in '99 with Zaharoff for Pour Homme and I think for Pour Femme. Now, Claude is quite a well-known nose. He's worked with Vince Camuto, Perry Ellis, Lacoste, Kenneth Cole, Hugo Boss, Bond No. 9 and Armorud. So, a very, very experienced perfumer and someone who obviously knows what they're doing. Otherwise, they certainly wouldn't be making all these wonderful perfumes with all these great people. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to spray a little bit more for the purposes of the review. I mean, I am wearing it today and I have worn it quite a lot lately, so it's something I'm quite familiar with. Now, this is a really, really lovely opening, but what we need to do to understand this fully is look at the notes, because they are very, very lengthy. Excuse me. I actually went in on a split for this, so I'm not working from a sample, I'm working from a couple of large decants. And the reason I did a split with people is because based in the UK, there's no one in the UK that's selling this. You have to get it imported from the States, and it's quite an expensive, the shipping kind of bumps up the pricing a bit. But I'd like to just point this out. When the fragrance arrived, myself and my friend that split it, we got these cards signed by George himself. And there's a lovely little design on the front as well about the bottle. Sorry, I don't have the bottle here, but what we'll do is I'll get Rich to put some photos up on it. The bottle is beautiful. The presentation is amazing. It's such a stunning bottle. The box it comes in also is very, very nice. And I'm not someone that gets that fussed about boxes and bottles. So, for me to think, wow, it takes quite a lot. So very, very impressive packaging, very impressive presentation. We need to look at the notes though, so whilst I read through them, you might want to grab yourself a cup of tea or pour a glass of wine, because there's a lot going on here. There really, really is. And we'll talk a bit more about that. But let's have a look at the notes that came, and they all come listed on this card as well, so it makes researching it very, very easy. First and foremost, this is an eau de parfum, an EDP. So in the top notes, you have fresh cardamom from Guatemala, you have lavender, France, you have black pepper, juicy pear, and blue cypress from Provenance. The heart notes, you have ginger roots from India, you have blonde cedar from Virginia, you have temple oud from Indonesia, you have iris from Florentine, you have pimento leaves from Jamaica, and you have fir balsam from Canada. And then at the base, we have creamy sandalwood from Australia, gold patchouli from Indonesia, black amber, myrrh, and frankincense. So that's an awful lot going on, and instantly alarm bells would start to ring when I see that kind of complicated, list of materials that the earth has been scoured for. You're thinking, how on earth are you going to get them all together? Has Claude Deer managed to get them all to sing harmoniously, or is it a bit of a synthetic mess? Or, sorry, not a synthetic mess, but is it a bit of a mess? And thankfully it's not. It's a really, really good scent. It's a beautiful fragrance, in fact. And what I think has happened here is George has taken inspiration from fragrances of yesteryear, because when I smell it, I'm instantly kind of transported to the world of your Rive Gauche or your Zaharoff pour Homme, or these kind of classic barbershop scents. And that's mainly, I think, due to the lavender, because there was a big hit of lavender in the opening. And I think what George is doing with the lavender, he's using it to set a scene. He's putting his stall out. This is a masculine, professional fragrance. And the reason this is called Signature is I'm assuming this is designed to be worn every day. And it can be. It's very harmonious. Everything is blended incredibly well. The lavender is quite dominant. There is a kind of like a citrusy note. I think it's meant to be pear. And I don't know, it's difficult. It doesn't naturally sort of strike me as pear, but there is a slight fruitiness that comes out. So that's probably due to me more than the perfume itself, because it blends very well. It's very harmonious. Now, when I wore this, because I don't work in an office, and if I did, this would be 100% perfect for that, because it's very long lasting. You get 7 to 8 hours of it being very noticeable, and then it kind of dies off to be a skin scent, which is perfect. You don't really need any more than that. Especially, if you're going to work for the day, this will get you through a work day and no problem. The projection is quite big to start off with, but it dies off quite quickly. So it sits above your skin. It doesn't become a skin scent. It's not a massive room filler, but it does have projection. And it does leave a wonderful trail, so the sillage will follow you around. But it's not massive. I mean, unfortunately for me, when I wore it to work, which I have done a couple of times, it can't, because I have such a strange job and I work in such a different environment. I kind of lost it at work. I could still smell it very closely to me, but around me, there's too much going on for this fragrance for me to wear to work. So it's not one that I could wear for work purposes. But if I worked in an office like I used to, I would wear this every day for work, because it's a lovely smell, and it sits very close. Well, not very close, but it doesn't over-dominate. So if you're at a desk and you've got colleagues around you, they're not going to be drowning in your fragrance all day, which is exactly what you want. I think George has put his heart and soul into this, and I think what he's done is he's created something that is a bit of a homage to an older fragrance. It's almost like he's taken an old car that's beautiful, and what he's done is he's changed the engine, or he's put like a modern engine management system into it. So you sit in this old beautiful car, but you put your key in and you turn it and the car starts first time. He's uprated the handling, he's given it a better interior, he's made this car a modern car in a beautiful old shell. So he's taken a classic and modernised it, and I think that's exactly what George has done with this. He's taken that sort of classic, almost barbershop-like fragrance, that sort of, as I say, like a sort of Rive Gauche or something like that, and made it into a wonderful modern scent, because it is very modern, and it has that. It really reminds me, especially as it starts to dry down, because it doesn't change a great deal. What it does do is it calms down, and then it lets all these wonderful notes shine. Now, there is oud in this, and I don't really get it. I don't get an oudy smell, but what I do get is a depth and a little warmth, and I think that's the oud sitting there, just giving it some more gravitas. I don't think it's, it's not barnyardy, it's not funky, it's not medicinal or anything like that. It's warm, it's a little bit resinous almost. It's a little bit spicy, but not over the top. For me, the lavender seems to be the vehicle that everything sort of bounces from. The sandalwood gives it a lovely creamy depth. The oud, as I say, gives it a little bit more oomph. But it's just very, very clever in the way this is made. It's there's nothing in here that is going to, alarm anyone. There's nothing in here that's unpleasant. There's nothing in here that's going to sort of turn people away from you and thinking, oh God, what are you wearing? Because this is a very, very kind of mellow. And also, I find lavender to be quite a relaxing fragrance, a lovely smell, a calming influence. So if you've got quite a stressful job, perfect. When I like lavender, I find it very, very relaxing. And very, very inviting. I love the smell of lavender. And because of the high levels of lavender in this, I think it becomes a very calming, very smooth, very very intoxicating fragrance. People will want to smell more of it. It is masculine and it's designed to be masculine, but as I've always said, a confident woman who likes a masculine scent will smell amazing wearing this. So please don't think it's only for the guys, because I think anyone can wear this. Probably more for the mature person. I wouldn't, I think it'll be a brave kid that wears this. Although saying that, my son, who's 6, absolutely adores this. This is one of my favourite fragrances that I've got, and he's always asking to wear it, and it does smell great on him as well. So I think I'm hoping that they're going to try and do something in the UK and maybe have someone that can stock it over here, because the shipping cost is quite a lot. And that's just, shipping. There's not a lot you can do about it. But if they had someone in Europe that was selling it, or they had someone in Europe or hopefully in Britain that would stock it, it would make it a lot more accessible for the British market. I know that the American market are really in love with this at the moment, and I can see why. It's a really, really good fragrance. You can get samples of it, and I strongly recommend you do. Although I do think this one is blind buy worthy, because as I say, there's nothing offensive in it. Clever bit of perfumery. A lovely wear. For me, I would wear this dressed up going out. It's something like, I can't actually wear this for work. It just doesn't work for what I do. But it certainly will probably work for what you do, especially if you're in an office or you're, kind of in a more sort of traditional role. It does have an almost sort of soapy kind of powderiness to it, which to me makes it smell like it's, put it this way, if the sample came and someone said this was from Maison Francis Coeur de Jean or from Parfums Nicolai, I would absolutely believe that without any shadow of a doubt. The quality is there with those sort of bigger, more established French houses. This could easily be one of their products. It's really, really nice. And what I will say is, I didn't think the projection was that great. However, wearing it today when I'm just doing a school run and pottering around the house and making a video, it seems to project a lot more than when I did it at work. And that could be the weather, because it is pretty cold today, and I think this may lean itself better to colder weather. It certainly seems to project more today than it did when I've last worn it, when the weather wasn't quite as cold. But saying that, this would be really, really good in the summer, because the lavender is quite cooling and calming. So this would be a good frag, in my opinion anyway, it would be a good frag to wear in the summer. So yes, it's an all year round, all season, all situational perfume that anyone can wear in any situation. For me, it will be used for going out with the wife, or special evenings and things like that. I can't really wear it for work, as I've said, but this is excuse my French, this is a bloody good fragrance. Strongly suggest that you sample it, and if you're feeling brave and you can get hold of it, blind buy it, because it's a very, very good fragrance. Anyway, listen, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much to George Zaharoff for this wonderful card with the breakdown on there. I shall be keeping this, and I shall be getting a bottle soon. So listen, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy, take care, and bye!